Lesson 9 starts on page 34 and it's about practicing the subtraction algorithm. Now remember what algorithm means? We learned that back in lesson 6. That's just steps used to solve a problem. The best way to learn this algorithm is just to do some practice. So let's go ahead and do some practice problems. Just like when we were learning to do the addition algorithm, it's best to start thinking about money, thinking about $1 bills, $10 bills, and $100 bills. So if you want to get out your fake 100, 10, and $1 bills, you might want to use those to help you think about doing subtraction. Now look at this problem. We have 486 minus 237. We want to take 237 from $486. So let's think about what we need to do here. Just like in addition, you just look at the columns. We start with the ones column, and we'd be taking 6 minus 7, or we'd be taking 7 from 6. Now we only have 6 there. We can't take 7 from 6 because that's more than 6. So what we need to do is borrow $10 from the next column. And so that means we change this 8 here to a 7. We borrow $10 and we put that over here. And so now we have 16. And I've got a little 1 above the 6, but we just think of that to ourselves as 16. And if we want to, we can do that subtraction over to the side. 16 minus 7, that would equal 9. And so 16 minus 7 is 9. We put that 9 in the ones column here. Now look at the tens column. We're taking 3 from 7, or if we want to think about it, since we're in the tens column, we're taking 30 from 70, and so that would give us 40. We just are concerned about the 4, that first digit. We don't think about the 0 because it doesn't matter. Now the last column, we're taking 2 away from 4. That would equal 2. 249. Let me put a dollar sign out in front too, since we're dealing with money here. Let's review what we did. This is one of the most important steps in the algorithm. You don't always do this, but sometimes, like in our first column, we're trying to take 7 from 6. 7 is more than 6, so we had to borrow $10 from the tens column. And we had an 8 there, or $80, so we took 1 away, or 10 away. We were left with 70, and we made sure and we canceled the 8 out and put a 7 up there. We didn't try to do that in our heads, because if we wouldn't have written that down, then we may have accidentally done 8 minus 3 instead of 7 minus 3. So that's real important to write that down when you cancel that out. Cancel that 8 out and put the 7 up there. And then we gave $10 to that ones column, so 10 plus 6 is 16. Minus 7 would be 9. And then we were able to complete the problem. Look at practice problem B. 600 minus 129. We're taking 129 from 600. So we look at this and we look at the first column. We're trying to take 9 from 0. We can't take 9 from 0. We have to have something there. So we need to borrow $10. And so we look at our tens column. There's nothing there either. So we need to just move over until we can find somewhere to borrow from, and that'd be the hundreds column. And so we borrow from that, and then we end up with 10 there. Then we need to cancel that because we're borrowing 1 from that. Basically that's 100 now, and now it's 90. We borrowed 1 and we gave that to the ones column, and so now that's 10. 10 minus 9 is how we look at that, and that's equal to 1. Now in the tens column we have a 9 minus 2, that's 7. And then 5 minus 1 is 4. $471. Now let's just go ahead and subtract some amounts that aren't dollar amounts, but we can pretend like they are if that helps you think about doing your subtraction algorithm. Okay, the first one, 615 minus 35. 5 minus 5, we do that first column. We're taking 5 from 5, so that would leave us with nothing, or 0. The second column, we're trying to take 3 from 1. That's not going to work. And since that's the tens column, we can think of that as saying 30 from 10. So we need to borrow 100 from the hundreds column. And so we'd be left with 5 there, and we bring that over, and we just deal with the digits, the non-zero digits. We're really saying 110 minus 30 equals 80, but we just deal with that digit. We don't think of the zero. 11 minus 3 is 8. Remember why we think of it as 110 minus 30? Because we're in the tens column, right? That 3 is in the tens place, so it's really saying 30. 35 is 30 plus 5. 30 tens plus 5 ones. If we borrow from the hundreds column, we have to be borrowing 100. We're not just borrowing 1. We have to be borrowing 100. We just write that one digit, though, the non-zero digit, and we think of that as 11 instead of 110. 11 minus 3 is 8. And then we're left with a 5. We don't have anything to subtract from, but we don't usually write 035. It's understood that there's a 0 there, and we just put 5 down. So anytime you have that, where you have a larger number and then there's nothing underneath it, you just write that number. It's like saying that number minus 0. And so we're left with 580. That's our answer on that problem. Let's do another one. 422 minus 177. So we look at our ones column. We're trying to take 7 from 2. That won't work. So we need to borrow from the tens column. We need to borrow 10. And so we're taking 1 away, so that would leave us with 1 there, or 10. We're giving 10 over here, so that makes that a 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. And now we have 1 minus 7. We're trying to take 7 from 1. That won't work. So we need to borrow from the hundreds column. And so we're left with 300 there. We borrow 100. That gives us 110, or we just write it like 11. We don't worry about that 0. 11 minus 7 is 4. And then we have 3 minus 1 is 2. 245. Let's do one more problem. 500 minus 190. The first column, the ones column, we're doing 0 minus 0, and so that's just 0. The second column, we're doing 0 minus 9. We're trying to take 9 from 0. That won't work. So we need to borrow 100 from the hundreds column. And so we change that 5 to a 4, bring that over, and now we're doing 100 minus 90. We just think of it as 10 minus 9. That would equal 1. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. 310. So in the subtraction algorithm, you have to borrow from the column to the left as needed. You can borrow 10 from the tens column, borrow 100 from the hundreds column. Always cancel 1, cancel that digit out, and then put above it 1 less, and then move a 1 over to the next column to the right. And that 1 digit, that's like going in front of the place value for that particular place. Like if it's the ones place, you put that 1 in front of it. That 1 is going in the tens place. If you're in the tens place and you put a 1 in front of it, you bring it over or borrow it from the hundreds place. That 1 is going into the hundreds place. Subtract column by column, borrow as you need to. That's the subtraction algorithm. You start with the ones column and move to the left. Okay, well that's all for lesson 9.